Class 6 Physics. Topic Friction. Children, here in this video you will learn about the advantages of friction. Most of our daily life activities depend on the existence of friction. Now see the examples which are given here. In absence of friction, we would not be able to walk on road. It is the reaction of the force of friction which makes us move ahead. You very well know that because there is friction, we are able to walk on the road properly. Otherwise, if there would have been no friction, every time either we would slide or we would fall down. When the road becomes wet after rain, friction is reduced and hence the road becomes slippery. You have a question in which it is asked, question number 25. It is difficult to walk on a wet road. Explain. Because when the road becomes wet, the gaps are filled with water. So here now the friction becomes less, it is reduced and hence the road becomes slippery. So it is difficult to walk on wet road. We slip on icy roads or polished smooth surfaces. This is also very true. When you have polished smooth surfaces, try to walk on it. There will be less amount of friction and as such you will not be able to walk on these surfaces properly. The next example, the wheels of a vehicle would fail to rotate without moving ahead if there is no friction between the wheels and the ground. Think of the condition that the wheel is trying to rotate, but there is no friction between the wheel and the ground. So would the wheel be able to rotate on the ground? It would completely slide on the ground, not rotate. So it would be difficult for you to move ahead. Friction helps in supporting a ladder inclined to a wall. See this figure over here. You can see that the ladder is inclined on the wall. Now think of a condition if there would have been no friction between the wall and the ladder or the ground and the ladder. Would the ladder be able to stand properly? Will you be able to get up on this ladder properly? No, definitely not, because this ladder will slide down the wall because there is no friction. But since there is friction between the wall and the ladder or the ground and the ladder, so it can stand straight and you can get up on this ladder. Without friction, objects would slide off a table unless it is perfectly horizontal. Yes, it is very much true. You keep your books on the table, but think of the school desk that you have on which you sit. It is slanting. If there would have been no friction between your book and the table, would your book slide down or would it stand? Definitely the book will slide down. It will not stand on the table. But there is friction between the table and the book, so you are able to keep the book on the table. Next point. It would be difficult to sit on a chair without friction or brush our teeth using a toothbrush. Yes. Think of the condition. You are using a toothbrush, but it is not causing any friction. So will you be able to clean your teeth? Or you are trying to sit on a chair, but there is no friction. So you will definitely slide down the chair, will not be able to sit on it. Brakes in a vehicle work because of the friction between the brake lining and the drum of the wheel. So whenever you pull a brake, what happens? This brake lining stops the drum of the wheel and as such the wheel comes to a stop. So your vehicle also comes to a stop. But think about the condition if there would have been no friction between the brake lining and the drum of the wheel, then the vehicle would not stop and continue to move forward. Friction is necessary to light a matchstick. Yes, you have to strike a matchstick on the side where you will find all those dots. Then only you will be able to light it. So, because of friction, you are able to light a matchstick. It is due to friction that we can use a chalk to write on the board. Yes, since the board is rough and the chalk we are holding is also rough, so we are able to write on the board. Now think of this condition that both the surfaces are smooth. Your board is smooth and the chalk is smooth. Will you be able to write anything on the board? No, there would be seen no mark on the board. So these are all the advantages of friction. Ways of increasing friction. By making the surfaces rough. See over here, if the roads are rough, then only you can move on it properly. But if this road would have been slippery or wet, would you be able to walk or move a vehicle on this road? No, it would never be possible. So, if we make the surfaces rough, it becomes easier for us to move a vehicle or walk on that road. Using dry surfaces. Here, dry surfaces have more friction while wet surfaces have lesser friction. So, if the surfaces are dried, then we can increase the friction by increasing the weight. Now see over here, there are two people. One person is carrying a large load and the other person is carrying a small load. Who do you think will be able to move faster? Definitely the person with a small load will be able to move faster. But to increase the friction, you take a lot of amount of load on you, your weight is increased, and as such the friction is also increased over here. So children, all these examples of advantages of friction and the ways of friction can be used in our daily life, because without friction we will not be able to move around. So friction is a necessary evil and it is necessary for us to understand it very well.